Hey, what is up, Satsmate Stackers? Today I'm going to talk about what society needs to go back to. I just think for the longest time, we as a nation have slowly drifted. It was a slow drift away to what has made us strong at the core. And what made us strong at the core was a few things, and I'll get into those. But I just feel like fundamentally we're far from where we should have been spiritually, financially. And I think I kind of came to this podcast topic because I came to a moment where I was like, wow, we've almost gone full circle. We've almost gone full circle. And so what I saw is as we all are aware, there's a big feminist movement, and women empowerment, all that stuff. And so I saw an article that women in Canada are sleeping with men in exchange for rent. And I was like, okay, there's just, so technically that would be prostitution, but they're essentially one step away from going full circle and being, there for the person, right? So it's just funny because it's like, wow, that is really, really funny. And I'm glad it's going full circle, and hopefully it closes the loop and it doesn't stay there, because it's pretty messed up that you would do it transactionally and not because you love the person or you want to be there for them. But I think why our society needs to go back to basics is because clearly we, by not being on the basics, by not being on what we know, it's actually helped us drift further and further away from a good society that we once knew and loved. Hear me out. I think ever since we started drifting from hard money in 1971, God, over the past couple decades, and traditional values, things have genuinely gotten worse. Now, that's not to say that there aren't certain things that have been going well. I think technology's been booming. I think there's a lot more healthy food options nowadays. I think that, things are much easier. Technology is better. But I think if you were just to look at the health of the mental health of the average person, it's much worse today than it was back 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. And I and many others, I'm not the only one. I'm in the school of Austrian economics, but there's probably hundreds of thousands of people that think like me. And I can argue that the fall of America really started in 1971. Now, I think there was things before that led to the big decision to move off the gold standard. But I think the real fall, the catalyst, started in the early 1970s. And, there's always been periods of fall, but now this has been a pronounced fall. And so how can we reorient ourselves in this society to go in the right direction and become better? How can we take that step back and be like, okay, this is not the path I want to go down. I want to go down. We're at the fork in the road right now. We're at the fork in the road. And the question is, how can we choose the right side of the fork, but also be happy about it, willing, ready, able, and be prosperous too with that fork? So, I think what led us so far is a whole bunch of poor decision making by leadership. So we had moving off the gold standard. We kind of worked to trust the science over religion, and we kind of created science almost as a religion where we just take faith in what these books say. And so I think what happened was all these things kind of converged together to create people who maybe are more into money printing, more into less saving, more into the debt-based society, more into like, what does the smart scientists say that are in charge? What does what can give me that quick pleasure? I think we went to a society as well where we tried to get quick pleasure all the time. That's where the hookup culture came from, and the dopamine of the social media and all this stuff just converged, and it just led us to all drift so far. And I think we can get back to this based society where we're headed in the right direction and becoming better. And here's my thought. We need that commitment to be disciplined and to not taking the easy route. We need that commitment to do the hard thing, even, and this is hard to say, especially everyone that goes into politics. They'll say, oh, I'm going to drain the swamp and this and that. I'm not speaking just to Trump, by the way. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna clean house, and then whenever they get in there, it's like more of the same, right? And so, but we need people in those roles that actually stick with their word, unwavering with their word, and that's discipline. Discipline in what you say you're gonna do, being impeccable with your word. We need more of that. We can't have more of these jawboning, elitist people who talk out of both sides of their mouth. We just can't. Look at where it's gotten us. We need to help one another too. So, if you see garbage on the ground, go throw it away. And trust me, I get it. I don't like throwing away other people's garbage. But when I was going through Switzerland, oh man, words can't describe how beautiful their country was. There wasn't I don't remember seeing a single piece of trash on the ground. But in America, every day I see bags of Cheetos flying, McDonald's wrappers, cigarette butts everywhere. It is bad. It is bad. And it's because we don't respect our society. The Swiss do. The Swiss respect their society. And that's why it is impeccably clean. So there's things we can do to go in the right direction. So having that discipline to do what's right, so cutting those jobs, not starting Doge and doing a couple things and then disbanding. No. Following through, even if it meant that you're going to be politically unpopular. And then I know that this is not meant to be a religious podcast. And to be honest, I'm not even that religious, but I do think religion or a higher power, I do think this plays an important, and having God in your life does play an important role. I started going after Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. I started going to church because he couldn't anymore. And look, I don't agree with every single thing in the Bible necessarily, but I'm just going because at least, at a minimum, I'm getting some meditative value out of it, but I'm also trying to reorient myself on a better direction, right? And, some of us, they do that towards work. We do a workout, or some of us do yoga, or some of us do runs, or, we all have our thing, but we need to reorient ourselves, in my view, on some type of higher path. Higher power. And if you just look at society throughout history, things tend to do better when there is that higher power in life. If you just look at the pagan societies just throughout history, they don't tend to do as well. Especially the idol worshipers. There's a lot of things in the Bible, if you don't just, even if you just want to read it, just read it. There's idol worship and stuff like that. You can see it. Today's idols are the Swifties. Today's idols are the people that follow Musk for everything. None of this stuff is new. This stuff, it's not new at all. In fact, this was all written about. And I love that. I love that about kind of going through the Bible, or just going to church and just being around people that seem to have a good head on their shoulders. And I think we need more of that in society, to be honest. Even if you don't believe it, I just think it's good to go there and just try to be with people that have a good head on their shoulders. Avoid the people that are alcoholics. Try to help them, but don't make that your circle of influence. The people addicted to drugs and weed and all that. Try to orient yourself in the right direction. In addition to all these things, helping each other, discipline, religion. We need to return to a hard money. Gold, silver, of course, Bitcoin. We need to return to a hard money because at the end of the day, this experiment has not worked, being placed on a fiat currency. And it hasn't throughout history. Go look at the thousands of years of monetary history. Debasing the real value never does anything good for the people. So I think it's funny because people say sometimes it's better now. But sometimes I think the old way is better for a reason. I think it's better for a reason. And I think it was put into place for the right intentions. And I think oftentimes we stray. Society, it's like the four turnings. It's not rocket science. There's four turnings. And if you go throughout history, through the beginning of time, you can see the four turnings happen almost perfectly. And I think it's beautiful because right now we're in the fourth turning, which means I have to look forward to the first turning if we make it through it, right? And so I think we've strayed so far due to the corruption, the greed, and the incentives. And it's like, guys, I get it. Everyone wants to be the one that gets the big boat and the nice house and the beautiful big family and this and that. I get it. But doing so at the expense of someone else, to push someone down, it's just like picture that person that pushes someone else down so they can get on that boat and drowning them. It's like, okay, yeah, you got on the boat, but you drowned someone. That's kind of the situation I'm seeing us in now. And Charlie Kirk said it best: get married, have children, build a legacy, pass down your values, pursue the eternal, and seek true joy. He said it perfectly. And I think that, honestly, society needs this. We need this now. We need to go back to basics. This has been throughout all of society. We've known this. And so I think we all need to admit that we've lost our path in society. There's individuals that haven't, but most people have. I go to the grocery store now, and people don't even look up and say hi. Whatever happened to love your neighbor? You know what I mean? From the VeggieTales when I was a kid? Or you guys probably watch, who knows? All I'm saying is, there's things like that. Or there's people that get mad at you for not going 15 over. You're going 10 over. And it's like, they want you to go 20, 30. What are you doing? What are you in a rush for? It's like there's this fire beneath people. And it's like, I think people are just on edge right now. They don't have God in their life. They don't have a family. They don't have money. They don't have a lot. And I think they're just taking out the anger on the world. And that's why we're seeing, unfortunately, the increase in violence. And so I think it'd be good if we all admit that we've lost our path and we need to reorient. I think that's so true. Whatever side of the aisle you're on listening to this podcast, whatever side, we can all admit it. Things are getting rough out there, right? Can we all agree? Okay, maybe not for the top 10%. But if you're in the bottom 90%, admit it. It's getting rougher. The shootings, the assassinations, they're ratcheting up. They're ratcheting up in real time. The civil unrest is ratcheting up. Every day you'll see more civil unrest. The finger pointing and the political divides, they're widening more than ever. And lastly, the corruption, the true corruption and the weight of the system is becoming untenable. We need to return to basics. We need to return to our core principles. What would our founding fathers say about our society today? I think we've done a decent job preserving some of the core ones, but what can we do to restructure ourselves in the right direction that our founding fathers would have respected and appreciated? And overall, I think we need to go back to these things. We need to go back to hard money. We need to go back to spirituality. We need to go back to being nice to others and helping others when needed. and just looking people in the eye and saying hi. You know, it's just such a cold world. Everyone, I don't get it. I don't get why everyone is so, you know, it just, I know other societies, they're not like this. And I just hope that we can eventually go in the right direction. And if we all need to become, you know, if we need to become Christians to make that happen, I say bring it. Let's do it. I hope that happens. As long as we can reorient ourselves. If we can do it without that, that's fine. But like, we need something. We need something to reorient ourselves. Whew. That's some passion talking, guys. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you liked it, please be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.